Hi, Mags.
Maggie, is that you?
Love seeing the same faces.
And any humans on the live stream or on the replay, skip ahead 2.5 minutes if you want to get to the start of the session.
I was going to ask how many sessions people have attended so far, but I'm going to guess most of them. 4, yeah.
Also, an exciting development, I have a poll. So once it starts, instead of you asking people where they're from, we can also launch the poll, which doesn't help with the live stream, but they can write and then people in the Zoom room can do it.
Okay, great. Yeah, that would be a good poll. 3, some online. You can type in the chat or change your name to where you're from in the world. Welcome to everyone on YouTube and Facebook live stream. Hi, guys. We have 2 minutes till we get started. We have Patty with us today.
Hi.
What are you going to be teaching us, Patty?
We're gonna be practicing receiving.
Receiving. I love receiving. Receiving money.
That's a great question. Actually, we could start off with that. What are you guys looking for to receiving what? Or what part of life? Something more, something new. The good stuff. Love that answer. What is it that you're craving or needing or wanting?
Or wanting to get from this session? What are you looking forward to? Why are you here? Actually, type that in the chat. Or bring it to mind if you are elsewhere. Write it down, maybe your intention for this session. Connection, yes. We're good at that, aren't we? Connection. Yeah. Yeah. People from all over Canada, welcome. UK, welcome. Ireland, welcome. New York City, welcome. More self-compassion, more confidence. Lovely. Well, we are on the hour. Thank you, everyone, for being here at the Embodied Yoga Principles Masterclass series. Today, we are joined by Patricia Aguirre, who is an EYP teacher in Mexico. We're going to be going over receiving pose. So welcome everyone for being here, or thank you for being here. Welcome to those on live stream. If you're on Facebook, YouTube, replay, anywhere out there, welcome. Thank you for being here. We don't have all the room in the Zoom room, so anyone who's a student of Embodiment Unlimited, if you've bought a product or class or course from us before, that's how you get the Zoom room access. So it's anyone else out there, that's how you get into the Zoom room, special access. But if you're on live stream, we can't see you, so don't worry, but we can see your chat. We can't see anything you put in the chat out there, so please ask questions. They will get to us and we will be asking questions either throughout or at the end. We'll have some time. This session will be an hour long, so we'll be going over receiving pose, and it's Patty's job today to show us how EYP can be used for personal growth, or used as in a facilitation with groups, or used with coaching one-on-one. So there's all sorts of ways EYP can be applied to various types of work, and she will be showing us all the different ways it can be used in those settings, but specifically with receiving. So if you are here as a teacher, or if you're here for personal growth, go ahead and put that in the chat now. If you're here as a teacher and you're looking to use this work with your students, or if you're here to use this in your therapy work, if you're a therapist, personal growth, yeah, that's why I came to it. EYP has been a personal growth tool for me for a few years now, both. So EYP can be used in lots of modalities, and Patricia is going to be going through all of those ways today. Somatics, yeah, dance, theater work. Yeah, EYP with dance. Checking out what EYP is. Good. Yeah, if you're new to yoga just in general, EYP can add another layer to your yoga practice. So we'll be exploring that today, how it can be applied to the yoga that you already do, how to get EYP off of the mat and into the real world. Since this is the first full day of the masterclass series, there's still plenty of time to invite your friends. So like we've said before, it's a wonderful opportunity to spend a full hour on each pose, and we haven't done an event like this before. So please invite your friends to any sessions that you think that they could help with, that they could benefit from these classes. So there's plenty of time to register more people. But if you have heard of our training, or in the yoga for training for coaches or training for yoga teachers, or someone who's gone through the training, all these masterclass series videos will be included in any package of the training that you purchase by the end of the week. So if you are interested in the training, don't worry, all of these masterclass videos will be included in your package. And we're actually giving away a spot in one of the courses. So Steve just put a link to a competition we're doing on social media. You might recognize my name. I'm also the social media manager for Embodiment Unlimited. And I will be the one going through all the entries. So please enter the contest, and maybe your name will, it's random, automatically generated. So maybe you'll win. So please enter that if you are interested in the training, but can't really afford it right now. We'd love to have you enter. So without further ado, I'll give a short little intro to Patty. Patricia Aguirre is a yoga teacher and family constellations facilitator. She lives in Mexico. Patricia has been a yogi and meditator for almost 2 decades. She is passionate about sharing deep spiritual work from a very grounded and earthly experience. And I can attest to this. I first met Patty at the Austin yoga teacher training in 2019, and she is absolutely very grounded and just lovely human being. And so I'm really excited to present her to you today to go over receiving pose. And if you are in the Zoom room here with us, please, if you would like, turn on your cameras so that Patty can interact with you. This would be a great opportunity to get some feedback for your practice here too. So Patty, I will hand it over to you.
Thank you, lovely Sarah. I already feel received with your warm welcome, and thank you everyone. Steve's working in the back and I'm glad he's getting some rest. Some people from the team are also here, so thank you to everyone for being here. And again, I would love to invite you, as Sarah just did, to open up your cameras if you're willing and able and decent, and maybe not so decent, that's fine too. Because we love the interactivity. EYP, one of the personal things that I really love about EYP is that I had been doing yoga for many, many years when I came to EYP. And I was so used to, like going into deep place of yoga and being silent and doing everything in my mat, rolling up the mat and leaving. And the social aspect was not there. And while that can be helpful at times, and I mean, I'm usually like a more reserved person, so that felt comfortable for me, but I knew that I was not practicing a very essential part of life, which is how do I relate to people around me? And also how do aspects that are very natural in life, like receiving, have to actually deal with a community and with other people. And even if we don't really like it, because all of the people that come to these kinds of things like yoga and meditation, we sort of like the quietness already, right? Does that ring true to some of you? So we already have like a little thing again, like towards sociability. And it doesn't mean that you have to be super expressive and share everything about your life, but definitely relating. And that's something that's a very part of ourselves as humans. And I really love that EYP takes that into consideration. So I make that as a part of an introduction to what EYP is, but as a reinforcement to my invitation to turn on your cameras. because I really love to see you. And if you can't, and also if you do have your camera on, I still would, I will be asking questions throughout the session. So I would love to see you comment on your chat. I already loved reading that you guys, some of you are here for your own personal interest. Some of you guys are yoga teachers already. Some of you are both. Some of you are therapists. If you haven't written that up, and Steve, I would be very thankful if you would tell us what's happening on the live stream that I can see, because I would really love, I love to see where people are. And well, this is also going to be recorded, so we're also taking into consideration people who will be joining us at a different time in life. But I would definitely love to see where everyone's interests and minds are at. So if you would write, if you haven't written already, what if you're a therapist or a yoga teacher or none of the above, would love to see that. And Steve's helping me here with some of you guys on the live stream. Hi, people on the live stream. Personal use, personal growth, personal growth, personal growth. You guys are very personal growth oriented. I am working as a teacher, coach in mindfulness, coaching, personal use. Great. Just a regular person. Yay. As we all are. Great. So on a scale from 1 to 5, and 5 being, I got this under my belt, I can be doing what you're doing, I can be teaching about receiving because I've got it all covered up. So 5 being that, and 1 being like receiving is the E before the I, or what's that spelled like? Where are you guys at? There's of course no right or wrong answer. So where are you? I love that this is one very good first step. Where am I in this receiving thing? A 1, 3, 3, 4, 1, 4, 1. Yay, regular person did yoga years ago. I'm a 2. Thank you, Stephanie, welcome. Okay, so also we're sort of like a biased population here, because if we are already yoga teachers, therapists, and all of that stuff, we're already in the giving mode. So we really do need to either practice or make sure that we make spaces for that receiving to happen. Not just because I deserve it, you know, like L'Oreal kinds of stuff, but because it's healthy, right? We want to avoid the burnout, but also we want to enjoy that aspect of life as well. And if you check onto what your yearnings are, and you could go as deep as you feel at this moment, but you could also go as practical as what do you want from this week or the end of this month. It's usually receiving something, right? Or no? Right, yeah. Because even if we're like in super hustle mode, and if we're not yogis and we're corporate people, and we're like, I want to be, you know, like the #1 Forbes, whatever, millionaire, whatever, that's like receiving something. Also, even if you're gonna get there, and these people really believe that they are doing all of the getting, but who's giving them the recognition that they want? Who's giving them the money that they want? So even if they're fully on the yang side of stuff, there's a receiving element to that. So we gotta be sure we got that open, flowing, and covered. And now that I say that, I would love to mention that receiving is not necessarily being open all the time and having no filters. And this is a very important part of the safety side of receiving an EYP and working with the body, because particularly if you're trauma sensitive or you want to frame this in trauma sensitive, always know that we want to go into openness, but you always have the power, my friend. And that power is the filter. You're the gatekeeper. And in EYP, we have all 26 poses. Some of them are very yang, some of them are very yin. But whenever we want to go into the softer or the yin-er poses, I really like to do some yang stuff before, because it makes me feel powerful enough to say, I'm open to receive, but not that. I'm open to receive, but not that way. Or I'm open to receive and this way. because I know what I want. Sometimes I use the archetype of I spent some time going to clubs when I was much younger. And I don't know if you've seen these guys, but they use like these big guys like at the entrance, and they say like who can come in and who can't, and who has to wait in line and who gets to not stay in line. And this archetype is also in ourselves, and it's super important to be able to, like, you know, yes, I want to have a partnership, I want companionship, but not this kind. And with that full force of that beautiful human masculine manifestation of that big guy who's gonna, like, there's no way that that's gonna happen in my life. Yeah, the bouncer. Thank you. Great. How are you guys feeling into what I'm saying so far? Great. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for that feedback. I love that. So I would like to know, from a scale from, let's say now, from 1 to 10, how comfortable do you feel with the idea of going into receiving? 1 is no, definitely not comfortable. 10, again, it's like, got it, Beyonce mode. Or maybe it's like, it's scary. I want it, but it's difficult. I want it, but I don't know where to start. Great. We have a beautiful rainbow of various numbers. I want it. Perfect. Thanks. Great. Okay. So I've sort of like been building a little bit of an introduction of what EYP is. Is this the first EYP session for someone in here? Wonderful. Okay, great. So this is just a small framework. I like to give brief introductions, so your mind, again, like I said, I really like to use the yang side of stuff. We gotta give the mind, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna be safe, so we can go there. Okay, we can go to the back where we're gonna be doing the physical stuff. But also, we're gonna really feel and understand what we're doing till we get there, until we do it. So a little bit of introduction of what EYP is. We're doing poses. I'm going to be asking questions. You guys are going to be reflecting and using your body to get those insights. Then we're going to be doing a short debrief. You don't have to share. You're invited and a little bit encouraged to share, but of course you don't have to do anything that you don't want to. And these are 3 very important pillars of EYP that I try to make sure not to forget to mention every time I open an EYP space, and that is consent. That means that you don't have to do anything of what I suggest today. You're absolutely and entirely free and able to skip out on something that I do, or take it down a notch or bump it up a little bit. That's totally up to you. The second part of these values in EYP that I like is self-care. So I am able to see the people who have their cameras on, but I'm not able to see those who will be watching the recording or those who are on the live stream. So I'm super relying on you to know about yourself. And self-care means not push yourself beyond what you know your limits are. Can I trust you on that, guys? Great. We love consenting adults here. And the last one of the 3 C's that I like is confidentiality. So we get to share a little bit. It's not going to be like a therapy setting sharing, but just short debriefs. And sometimes we get to see things and be witness for people for some things that are private. Could I again see your hands? And we trust each other that we're going to be trustworthy and trustable. Great. So now that we have those stuff out of the way, let's get into receiving mode. We're going to do a very short centering exercise, and so that we go back there and into the body a little bit more centered than we were a minute ago. And that's my intention with centering. I don't want to like, let's go into this blanks space where everything in the past is in the past and the future is in the future. Like, can we get a little bit more centered than we were a minute ago? And what happens when you just say that? And there's already like a system inside of you to, okay, I'm doing this, I'm here right now. I will get the best of this stuff if I have more of my internal resources here. And again, a short thing that I like to do for centering: does your body need to do something right now, urgently? Is that adjusting yourself where you're sitting? Is that closing a door, turning off your phone, turning on the light, turning off the light? Does my body need to do something? And it's, if it's like at this stage of like urgently needing, it's already happening. Like your legs already shaking, or you're like feeling warm or cold. So it's already there. And maybe just seal this short centering practice with a conscious full breath. And let's start taking a centering into our life. I would love to see or hear one word for something that you think that you need to receive more of. And try to see if that word can come from that centered space. It doesn't have to be like this super serious, but a little authentic. I'm going more for authentic than serious. Ooh, loving these. Kindness, compliments, love and support, abundance, support from others. Beautiful, beautiful. Playfulness, welcome, lightness, fulfillment, money, self-compassion. Oh my, I'm loving all of these. I'm thinking many of us are loving these: respect, orientation, support, playfulness, love, acceptance. Yeah. Would you mind typing what comes to your mind, or what comes through you when I am reading these words aloud? Acceptance, feeling accepted, self-love, self-compassion, self-acceptance, pleasure, happy, calm, authority, gentleness. I want that. Yeah, I'm sort of feeling that phrase. I want that as well, right? Even if we heard stuff that we didn't type ourselves, I want that. That feeling of I'm not alone in that struggle, in that yearning. Sometimes yearnings feel a little solitary, right? Like, I'm super weird to be needing these. Wonderful. Let's get to that. Okay, are you ready to stand up? Okay, so as everyone gets to their feet and moves stuff around, I will just briefly mention that EYP poses can be adjusted to accessibility. So if you need to be standing, you can adjust. Sorry, if you need to not be standing and be sitting, you can do that as well. And you can do that while sitting, and I will mention that in the instructions as well. But be mindful that you can also do that, not only if you cannot like physically stand up, but sometimes you don't crave that. You know, sometimes you just crave to receive right where I am, right? Okay, but let's do it standing, because that's like the full official EYP pose. Okay, great. I'm gonna be doing it on the side, but you can do it up front, just because on the side it's a little bit easier for you to be able to see fully. Okay, so you can start standing with your feet together. And I'm gonna be guiding one side of the body, but you could actually do either one. Just be mindful of which side is which. So take one step back with your right foot. right foot. And we're going to be bending that right knee enough to make you feel that 60% of the weight of your body is on the right leg. And the left leg does have a little bit of weight. I mean, it's not like flying around, but I'm not going forward. I'm not feeling my weight on my forward leg. I'm feeling it on my, like sinking through the hip and through the leg, through the right leg. It might be a little uncomfortable if you're not used to moving this part of your body, but we're not gonna be staying here for a long. Wonderful. Okay, so now that we have the legs and the weight, we're gonna go through the arms. And we're gonna be bending the elbows close to where the waist is, or supposed to be, or was, or sometimes is. And try not to clench it, like not too close, but also not too far away. So find a place where there's space between your body and your elbows, sort of relaxed. And your arms are gonna be extending forward and your palms are gonna be open. So this is what you're gonna be doing if you're sitting. You're just gonna be working with your arms, and you could do a little bit of not slouching, but sort of like going a little bit, shifting your weight a little bit towards the back of your chair when you're doing this pose, sitting down. So this is the complete pose. Our gaze is forward. Now I'm gonna turn towards you so that I can see you and speak to you. And now that the pose is complete, physically complete, try to get a sense of what's happening in your body. Is this awkward? Or is it comfortable? Does this idea of having your arms stretched out feel familiar to you? I'm gonna go towards the screen, but you can stay there. We're gonna stay there. We're gonna keep doing, yeah. And as you're spending a couple of seconds now in the pose, do you feel like you wanna run away? Or are you finding ease in the pose? If it gets physically heavy, you can shift sides, but I would really recommend exploring that uneasiness as part of the experience of the pose. Notice if you're clenching your arms towards the body. You could be doing that maybe with the shoulders or with the elbows, trying to, like hold it in and not really. And maybe you're pulling your arms a little backward instead of having them out in the open. What is your body doing without you noticing? Do you find that it's shifting forward? Like, yeah, I want to receive, but I will tell you how, what, and when I want to receive. What's happening as we're spending a little more time here? For those of you who are getting uncomfortable with the pose, is there something that you could do without moving your body that much, that where you could find ease in receiving? Now, where do you think that you could use this more of in your life? What do you need to receive more of? What is already there in your life that you're already receiving, but you haven't noticed, where you could own your receiving? What would happen if you breathe here? Who are you when you are fully receiving what you want, what you need, when you need it, in the amount that you need it? And if you're feeling super comfortable and like, oh yes, this is what I really needed and this is landing it so well in my body, could you do, oh yes, a little more? Could you also be aware that there's a pleasure aspect in here? For those of you who have, I mean, you could do this with any concept that you want to receive, but if it's like a material thing, could you visualize that in your hands? Is it a plate full of delicious French pastries? Or a bag of gold coins? If you were that bag of coins or those pastries or that gorgeous guy, woman, or whatever you're into, would you feel invited to those arms? Would you be like, yeah, I want to go in the arms of that person who's calling in? What's happening with your hands? Do you notice that? Sometimes we tend to clench our hands as well. Like, yeah, I'm there. But no. Are they open and relaxed? Wonderful. Okay, let's take a deep breath as we come back. And take these couple of seconds between coming out of the pose and coming back to the screen as a closing that you do with yourself. Notice what should be noticed, what you want to remember. You could also, if you're a reserved person like myself, you could filter what I want to share in this debrief that's going to happen, what I want to keep for myself. So in EYP, we do a short debrief, which could be like 1 or 2 sentences. If you would like to share something that came up, some insights, something that happened during this exploration. And as you guys are going through that and typing, if you are willing to, I would also mention at this point that EYP is not only a reflection of our inner world, like this is my reality, but it also is affected because the body is affected by conditions. So it could be that at this moment, I don't feel like that. But maybe tomorrow you'll get a different experience of receiving. The time of the day, also has an effect on these. The people you've been in contact with during the day, like if you've been with people that you don't like, it would be really hard to go into openness at night, you know, because you're like in that icky mode. So take that into consideration. This is like, you guys felt that you get like really deep insights, but also let's put it into perspective, right? I'm gonna read some of these things. Interesting realization about what I really want. Good one. Was try walking home. Can't wait to listen again and try it again. Wonderful. Felt a little tight at first in my shoulders. Could relax into the pose if I stayed in it long enough. Yeah. I really love, I mean, I know it's super nuanced. I would probably go into that more if we were in a different setting. But yeah, like how different it is the first second that you get there, the second that you get there, and then after a couple of minutes, right? I could relax into the pose if I stayed long enough. Moving from 80% of my back leg to more balanced felt more natural. It made me realize that there is so much already for me to receive. I just need to accept what is there. Yes, lovely. Yeah. Wonderful. I felt invited to receive and that my body could moderate if it was too much or too little. Yes, that's something that we really love about EYP. I feel excited about allowing myself to receive. Perfect. Yeah, I need to shake and do some self-care before it felt comfortable. Yeah, like I mentioned, I mean, we're doing like these master classes with one poses. Generally, EYP has like a mix of different poses in a session. And like I mentioned, this is more like a personal preference. I do like to go into some yang poses, like being able to have a boundary, being able to say no, being able to protect myself before going into the openness. So just, I mean, have that in mind. Back leg feeling tight and uncomfortable being forward. Great. So we have some yoga teachers in here, right? So EYP is something that you don't have to be like a therapist. If you are, that's super. I mean, I do it all the time because sometimes people when I work with people in one-on-one sessions, they might not see. Like for once, I had someone who was expressing their readiness to be out there in love, right? And the expression was like, yeah, I want it. I'm ready, but there was like so much clenching. And instead of like talking through that, we went into like the open floor and we used the body to, how does it feel to express that same need and walk into like that openness and being ready to receive from a different state, because it's very vulnerable, right? So you can use that in a therapy setting, in a coaching setting, to help the client go fully into the next step of this yearning, in this case, because we're talking about receiving, but actually in any aspect in particular. Do you want to do it in a yoga setting? Do you feel like doing that? I read somebody mention, I feel weak in the pose. And actually what I had in mind for the yoga aspect of this is gonna take up on that. So again, we're gonna stand up and imagine we're in a yoga class, like a regular yoga class. We're using a mat, we're having a sequence. And one of the most popular poses that you have or that you see in a yoga place is warrior pose, right? So you could do whatever warrior you have. Like it would be like, I mean, I'm really thinking about like a warrior one. And imagine that you're there in like the yoga class and you've been breathing. Usually warrior poses come in a place where you've been doing all these, I'm going to use yogi words, but don't mind them if you don't understand them, like big ujjayi stuff and all of your bandhas and all of that, this stuff that you will get you sweating and, you know, like, you're at that point and you have like the warrior face. Could I see that warrior face? Yeah, so we're there, right? And usually warrior is like, I'm going towards my goal, like I have it in mind. I know what I want and I'm going there. Yeah. Great. And this is sort of like the equivalent, if we take it to our everyday life, of the hustle or the work or doing the work. You know, everybody mentioned, and many people mentioned, I want to do this because of personal work, personal worth. So all of this growth, all of this hard work, you're taking the classes, you're paying for the workshops, you're doing a movement forward. So could I see like those 3 minutes of like that intense warrior? You're like sweating in the class. Your core is fired up. You're like, yeah, I can do it. And from there, imagine that you're getting there. You're getting to that place where you want to get that stuff that you want to get. And then you receive. How does that feel to come down to receiving from an open chest, from open shoulders? How is that different from what we just did a couple of minutes ago? Okay, take a second to cool off a little bit because we did like super hot weathers, really hardworking stuff. A lot less scary, less charged, less restriction, like I can receive my own water now. More energetic, yeah. And the receiving in that story, like if I were giving that yoga class, it would come up as a story, right? Like going going to your max, giving all of your effort, and then. And most of us who have like a very westernized mind, we have the belief that we are worthy of something until we have done the effort to deserve that, right? So that's why it's very easy to connect from that high place of effort. And that's true. I mean, some things that you really have to work for, but not everything, right? And even if you have like that justification if you're in your mind, I don't receive it because I don't deserve it because I haven't done enough. Maybe do enough. Maybe sometimes. But maybe, and that will come, we don't have to even, stand. We could just call it, maybe you've already done enough. In what aspects, what areas of your life have you done enough? And you're ready to receive as you are in your beautiful, imperfect self. Yeah. How does that feel? That's a little harder, right? Usually, yeah, good. More stable, more emotional. So I really love this contrast that we just did because we can apply EYP and EYP will fit into showing us like how easy it is to go into receiving when I know that I made the effort. When do I have to come at it from a softer place? And there is no right or wrong. It's not like, yes, you should be like super hardworking, or you should be like all deserving and very millennial, like, everything should come to me. Sometimes all of us have our place in this spectrum, right? And for every aspect of life, we have different places on the spectrum as well. And this is just like a short bit that you could add to your yoga class. And like Sarah said, it's like a layer that you add to the practice. I don't even have to go like into a full explanation of what EYP is, but it's a chance for people to get insights of how they're living their lives. And at the end, we want to live life with a little more quality, right? Of life. And you can maybe do, sometimes you're doing like this full, very energetic sequence. Like I remember when I used to practice with a certain teacher, she liked to do like super hot Mondays because she assumed that we did like lots of lazy things on the weekend. So she had us like lots of vinyas and lots of chaturangas and all of that stuff. Maybe in that sense, you could also add like the deserving, because you will deserve your break after you're, you know, like used up all of your energy. And sometimes if you're picking like a softer sequence, it's like, you know, you're worth respect because you're a human being, right? Not because you've done something. And that comes from a different space, and we're doing receiving in both sides, but that we add the human context with the human experience. Great. So I would invite you to take a breath, integrating what just happened. Working with the body is deep stuff, as some of you might have felt. Even if we stay there just for a couple of seconds, it allows for such a deep experience. To feel that I am enough. I don't want my receiving to be conditioned on doing enough. Yes. Yeah, and the beautiful side of taking this into coaching or therapy work, and it's something that I personally love. That's why I have a podcasting. I didn't ask Sarah to share it because it's in Spanish only, but it's a grounded spirituality. So all of these ideas of you are deserving because you're a beautiful human being. Yes, sometimes for some things, and for sometimes you really, I mean, you gotta do the work. You gotta show up. You know, you can think of those partnerships that you had when the person was not showing up. I will not say genders, but the person was not showing up, and you're like, I mean, my love's here for you. I'm willing to give it to you, but you really gotta do this or that. So sometimes for some people, for some cases, and in some scenarios, it's receiving from one side, and in some cases, it's receiving from another side, right? And we can modify, and we can use EYP to come from either, so that person can get that insight, right? Yeah. I'm reading more comments that are coming in. I was better, actually more emotional. Yes, I realized I've been trying to justify the receiving and going, well, I shouldn't really receive this because I don't deserve it. Yes, this is very common, right? This made so much sense. Thank you. The sequence was very significant. After a warrior stance, receiving was more quietly felt by the body. The upper part of the body was in peace and receiving in safety. This may be different than most. For me as an introvert, it's a way to accept energy from others, to recharge rather than retreat, to restore my energy. Beautiful, beautiful. That's a very beautiful aspect. Yeah, so I would love to share one last bit. And this is something that I share, if not in all of my therapy sessions, probably at least half of them. And it's something that's called microposes. And microposes is something that like we might do receiving, right? Because the session had something to do with receiving. And we get a micropose as like something that you take away, like a charm from the session. That's the way that I use it. So that the person is reminded, right? Like I'm gonna go into like this meeting at my work where I'm gonna get a promotion, but I feel uneasy and undeserving, although that person is deserving of it because they already have it, right? And so the micropose could be used, okay, I'm sitting now. So like right when you're like in the meeting, you just go like this. You're opening your hands, and that's the micropose, and nobody's gonna notice. Like they would notice if you like stood up in the middle of and you go like this, you know, I do like the whole charade. They would be like, the crazy person shouldn't get the promotion, right? But these microposes can be used in any setting at any time, and it carries on and it connects to the effect of what you just worked with. And EYP has a micro pose to all of the poses. And you can even find the one that you want. Sometimes, actually, I use this a lot because I work with women a lot, and I know that men do, but I mean, I'm speaking from experience as a woman myself, and that I work with women mostly. Sometimes for receiving and getting out of the doing mode, we do, okay, this. So whenever you're sitting and people are discussing something, instead of like your normal tendency to go and do and solve and meddle and go in and, you know, put your energy where it may or may not be needed, wanted, or whatever, just maybe take a movement, like a degree, we could say, of your back, just a little backward. What happens if you do it right now? It also sort of like allows a space for you choosing if you're gonna wanna go ahead and go forward. But it comes from a space of your decision and not from a habit. And that makes a whole difference. Yeah. Disengage and give myself space, exactly. And not because I am saying that disengagement or, you know, like avoidance should be the go-to method, but definitely we want to have choice, right? And EYP helps us find that place. No more fixer. Yeah. Okay, so as we're coming to a close for this session, I would really love to invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. You can keep them open if you're willing, but we're sort of like gonna take all of what happened and allow what's ready to digest to go into digestion mode. And again, the question is, what does your body need to do at this moment? Do you feel that it's already activating? Or do you feel that you need to retreat after we're done? Maybe write something down. Maybe take a moment for yourself. And whenever I attend a workshop with something that similar to the work that we've done here, I like to say, what can I work with right now? What's too much for me right now? What's too big of a goal? What is a feasible goal for me to set with what I see that I wanna change, or yeah, whatever word you find comfortable. Modify, adjust. What's feasible right now? What's a goal that feels friendly to my body right now from what I just experienced? Because sometimes we get like super inspired and want to say like, I'm gonna change all of my life right now. And that doesn't necessarily feel so realistic for the body, and it maybe just adds pressure, right? So what's real for me right now? If you want to go big and that's comfortable for you, go ahead. But what feels congruent? How could I find a place there, sitting just or laying down or wherever you are, that I could receive just a little bit more of what I initially said that I wanted? can I find just a tiny bit of space in my body now? A little bit more. And if not, that's also perfectly fine. Take your time and be respectful as you come out of your closing meditation. Carrying that which you received a moment ago to the outer world, to your screen. I thank you for sharing this time with me. It's been my pleasure. And I hope it keeps resonating and giving more for you to receive. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Steve. Go ahead.
Thank you, Patty. That was amazing. Does anyone else, and maybe it's just because it's such a lovely yin receiving pose, but does anyone else feel like tired almost? Or like when you settle into something that you're longing for? I just yawned like 15 times in the last 30 minutes because it just feels so good. I feel so held. Thank you for such a lovely session. Wow. Everyone type in the chat now or in the comments or write it down, bring it to mind, however you're processing this. What was the big thing you're going to take away? What are you going to take away from this session? Did you have an insight? Did you have a realization? Did you learn something? What did you learn? Feeling really calm and peaceful. I'm going to go be received by my bed. Sweet dreams. Awesome. Receiving to energize. Lovely. Yeah. Great. These are good insights, guys. So you can see how EYP is for humans, anyone with a body, right? And what are going to take away for your coaching clients? You know, how can you use this to help someone else? How can you use this to help the classes that you're already teaching connect with what they're doing with their bodies, with what they're doing in the rest of their lives outside of your classroom? So if you know of someone who could benefit from these master classes, we still have 4 more days after this to go of these free classes, going into a full hour for each of the 26 EYP poses. Steve just put in the chat again the link for the social media giveaway. We're giving away 1 spot in the EYP training. Whether you want to use it as a coach or a trainer, just for yourself, it's totally up to you. If you win, you get your choice of the package. But whatever package you get, these masterclass series recordings will be included. So if you can't catch all the replays, don't worry about it. We are doing the special right now. So through the end of this week, is a special price for the training. And Steve, do you actually have that little video if people want to see some info more how EYP can be used? Yeah, we're going to watch that now.
What the EYP course for coaches has to offer you is a way to shift things from getting stuck in the head and getting into the body. These very simple forms can be done in normal clothing, in any setting, anywhere, and you can then begin to look at the patterns that might be keeping your clients stuck. As a coach, I use this mostly with my clients with intimacy and relationship and communication, and as soon as I get them to move from the cerebral part of the conversation and getting them down and into their body.
See yourself as you see other people, because I have a very critical eye at the moment.
So when you sign up, there's plenty of support available to you. We have a private Facebook group that you are welcome to join. We have monthly Q&A calls, so you get a lot of ideas of how other people are using the same things.
Beautiful. So I hope that all of you have taken something away and are already thinking about ways you can use this out in the world with whatever kind of work you do. If you would like to support us for putting on this free week, we encourage you to become a part of the EYP community by being a trainer yourself or just adding EYP to your personal growth toolkit. The system does include 26 non-athletic poses like you've seen. It's not about athleticism or yoga as much as it's about the inquiry and the growth that can happen from this process. So anyone who does want to become a trainer, though, you get access to our community tutorials. So you get the monthly tutorial calls. Steve's sharing here the different levels. Yeah. So for coaches, you get everything that comes with the yoga teacher training, but the additional additional demos and videos specifically for coaches. And actually what I thought would be really cool, and I want to mention this, is that if you do go through the teacher training here and you decide, hey, I want to use this for coaching at the end, you get a discounted upgrade after you finish the course. So after you finish each one of these courses, if you think you're going to start with one and then maybe move on to another, go ahead and start with the one you're really interested in, and at a discounted rate after you finish that course, you can start another one. So super easy to upgrade. EYP for daily life. That's me on the left. You see me? Warrior pose. That was really fun. Okay, you don't need to zoom in on it, Steve. But that's been, I'll just say that's been exactly how I've been using EYP, personal growth, for me the past few years, and it's changed my life. It's how I met Patty. It's how I met this wonderful community. Before we go, Patty, do you have any final tips, whether it's receiving EYP, any final tips for us that you would like us to take away from the session?
Yes, I would love to share from one of the things that I love to focus on when dealing with receiving, and it's pleasure. So if I sink into that feeling and try to go beyond the belief if I should or shouldn't, or if I deserve or not, and go into what feels good, we open up a gate for another pathway for receiving. So, and also, and not that I thought of doing it because of this, but I would invite you to my session on sensuality on Wednesday. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, you do have a few more sessions coming up, so I encourage you all to catch as many sessions as you can. The next session coming up after this is actually my session on transcendence pose, rise above the BS. Yeah, so everyone come to that. If transcendence is something you're working on in your life, how to rise above the stuckness of the day-to-day, or maybe you're already in transcendence and you want to figure out how to come back down to earth. Yeah, please join me for that. And again, I will say, please share this registration link that you signed up with all your friends. Yeah, it's really easy to add it to your Google Calendar. Once you register, you just put it in their calendar, share with your friends, and you think that you can. How do we enter to win the contest? Oh yeah, someone just asked that. After you register, actually, there should be directions on how to enter the social media contest. This link, though, head on over to that if you're in here in the Zoom room, and we'll try to put this link elsewhere, but there's directions in the registration process, and also on the social media post itself. But yeah, just share the post with your friends, share as many posts and stuff that you can, but share with as many people as you can. And we hope to see you again at the next session or anytime throughout the rest of the week. We are on time, so I will leave you with that. Thank you everyone so much for coming. It was wonderful to see you too, Joyce. And it was wonderful to see all the recurring faces. And I hope to see you later on this week.
Thank you everyone for being here.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.